now, I would like to call upon Dr. B Kalyan Chakravarthy, IAS Principal Secretary, Skill Employment, Entrepreneurship and Labour Welfare Departments, Government of Assam, for an address. He would be joining us virtually.
One of my gurus, Ajay Mishra sir, in there. Good morning, sir. I see Karthikeyan also of the CEO task. Sudhir, thank you for connecting me back to Hyderabad. And, the topics are very many. Like, you talked about challenges and opportunities, emerging courses, what is the meaning of multidisciplinarity, education, and skills. So I would probably try to sum up everything in about 5 minutes time, and I will just start by saying that the students who are watching us, they would probably looking at what kind of education, what kind of skills they need to do in order to get employed. And as we are aware that while agriculture as a part of the GDP is declining and industry in our entire economy is rather constant at about 20%, it's a services sector which is actually taking India forward. And though we do talk about Make in India, essentially the Make in India, where we have a challenge with countries like China or Philippines, show that we should be focused more. Perhaps this is my perception that we should be focused more on services sector, services around agriculture and industry, and also the fact that there is a tremendous amount of urbanization that is happening, and India is rapidly urbanizing. Are the sectors in which the skilling needs to look up to and look forward to. We had a great kind of a skill conference. Assam has established something called the Skill University, and while industry is very important, the gestation period, the kind of labor codes that are there, make industry as a long-term investment and skilling, and therefore employment, more difficult sector in our country compared to the sectors of services. And in the services sector, of course, I would like I see the future is there in the field of health, which is an ever expanding field. There is a huge amount of employment in the various sectors of health. There's a huge employment potential in the field of education and in the field of infrastructure and environment. And of course, people skills. Now, in all these, whether it's health or education or infrastructure, environment, one of the common threads to all these 4 or 5 extremely important sectors which the country is progressing in would be digital skills and people skills. So these are also the sectors I'm sure the CEO task will talk about where there's a great amount of scope for employment in the future. As I was Principal Secretary Education, of course, now I look after culture, education, and cooperation too. I find that while we have a huge demographic dividend, a huge amount of youth which are coming out of the colleges in the last 2 months regarding employability, and I see that most of the people who are getting hired are either with 10 to 15 years of experience as opposed to the fresh graduates. And perhaps the reason perhaps for this is that what the colleges are teaching and what really is required. It's not that we don't have employment, but the skills that are required to really hit the ground running are not there. And therefore, every government in the country is looking at how to really vocationalize education. And we see that vocational education, introduction of IT, right from class 8 upwards, is under the NEP and also is now a policy across all the state governments. And we're talking about short-term skills in the ITIs, in the polytechnics, in the colleges, and inclusion of skilling as a necessary component of education is now, I think, being institutionalized. To some extent, there is progress made in every state, but I would request that all the students and will try and look at the skilling ecosystem. When I was Principal Secretary Education, I did not have much idea as to skilling, but the purpose of education without an employment or without an opportunity for entrepreneurship is really purposeless. And therefore, the skill ecosystem being an integral part of education is very, very important. And today, if you look at urbanization, for example, in Hyderabad, you'll come across real estate offers a great scope. Or if you come to Assam, you'll find oil and the mining sector has a great scope. The insurance sector is really expanding. The banking sector is expanding. With urbanization, you'll need transport and auto sector, which is expanding. And pharmacy is an essential component of the health. These are the sectors that we have identified, but every state will, of course, have to come up with their own skill gap analysis. And every state will have certain strengths and weaknesses. But the great thing is that while world population ages and declines, India has an average age of about 26 to 27 years. Assam, in fact, has almost 22 years, about 4 years younger than the rest of the country. Our strength is the youth, and like the world is looking to Indian youth to really fuel their supply chains, to fuel their markets, fuel their production lines, and therefore skilling in order to meet the world needs. Besides the needs of the ever expanding markets of India, is a great scope. But bridging the gap between what is happening in the world of technology and what we really have right now as an output of education is the key thing. Definitely like to join back sometime to hear all of the esteemed speakers give their views about how to take it forward. I did not go into the specifics because of the lack of time, but I do wish this conference all the best and all the success. And I hope that we are able to answer the questions of the children, the kids who are looking up to us in terms of getting employed. Thank you, Sudhi. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Ajay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us and giving out the outline. And we recently did a huge two-day conference under the program chairmanship of Dr. Kalyan Chakravarthy. All the 7 northeastern states and other states in the country have been part of, and it was a huge, huge success that we hosted in IIT Guwahati. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.